You might want to put your gun away. I spoke to your chief yesterday.
Hey, down on the ground. Lay down on the ground, motherfucker. Lay down on the
Hey,
ground.
whoa, keep.
You're the only dangerous motherfucker out here. Lay down on the ground. Show yourself.
You're committing a felony right now, officer. You are committing a felony. That is an armed terrorist threat. This is Olmos Park, guys. Olmos Park, once again. Once again, Olmos Park. Why you got an AR-15 out?
Get away from him.
Articulate the law broken and I will...
I am.
Okay. Are you here to hurt anybody?
Negative.
Do you have a gun as well?
Of course I do.
Okay. Get away then.
Now, what crime is being committed here?
I will get down.
What crime is being committed here? So you got an AR-15 in hand because a man is lawfully carrying. This guy over here's got a pistol because he's lawfully carrying. How you doing? Oh, these cops are overreacting to a man lawfully carrying a firearm. We told you guys you were going to learn. Today's your education. Today's your education, Corporal.
All right, what you just saw was a portion of a video taken by C.J. Grisham and his friends of the Olmos Park Police Department, who completely mishandled the situation of a lawfully carrying individual in the state of Texas. They are in desperate need of re-education. I believe they should be sitting a long time in prison for what they did to C.J. Grisham. Have you guys seen a picture of C.J. Grisham's head? If not, I'll show that right now. So, in any event, it doesn't matter if we agree or disagree on certain theological points. If we don't stand up together as Texans and put a stop to this kind of police abuse and this police who are acting as minions of the New World Order to put a boot of tyranny on all of our necks, we'll get what we deserve. When we all get to heaven, you ever heard that Baptist song, When We All Get to Heaven? You know, it's a great song, by the way. I think it goes on, what a wonderful time that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. I love that song. Anyway, when we all get to heaven and we're like, you know, hanging out and doing whatever, you know, Tommy says that the Lord told us just enough about heaven that we want to get there, but not so much of the details that he'll ruin it. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is, if anybody ever comes up to you or me and they say, what was it like to live in a society without our guns? I don't want to be able to answer that. I say, don't ask me, because I never gave up my guns. I never was a part of any society that did that. If you want to learn the answer to that question, you go talk to someone else. Because, you know, I don't have any idea what it's like to live in a society where we had to give up our guns, because I never gave up my guns. And so, you know, I think that regardless of our differences that we may have between one another, that we need to come together and make a stand as Texans that we ain't giving up our guns. Davy Crockett, I got a shirt with a quote on the back. He says, "You may all go to hell, but I'm going to Texas." Texans ain't ever given up our guns. I don't care what kind of police force you think you got, what kind of badge you're wearing. We have certain rights that come from God, and the right to bear arms and self-defense is one of those rights. And my understanding is there's a shindig going on in Olmos, Texas this Saturday from 12 to 3. Now, I got a lot better things I could be doing on a Saturday. Let me tell you, it's about a 5-hour drive. But I am considering going with some of my friends. We're going to have to leave here around 6 o'clock in the morning and show up at Olmos, Texas from 12 to 3. if you're around that area, if you're within a 5 or 6 hour drive and you want to show up too, the more the merrier. But the police department that did that to C.J. Grisham, they need to go to prison. They not only need to be educated on what they did was wrong, but they need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law for denying him and his friends their constitutional rights. And the people that tackled him and assaulted him, those police officers need to spend 27 years in prison. You say, why are you picking 27? Well, that's what they put Schaefer Cox in prison for, and he never even punched anybody in the nose. And what those police officers did is 100 times worse than what Schaefer ever did. And so if you're going to put Schaefer in prison for 27 years, then find those police officers that tackled C.J. Grisham under the color of law with their badge and their uneducated selves, and let's put them in prison for 27 years. I mean, that's exactly what I think should happen. I would like to read Luke 22:36. If I can read without my glasses. I got my glasses around here somewhere, but it says, Then said he unto them, But now he that hath a purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip. And he that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy an AR-15. That would be this right here. This right here is an AR-15, I believe. This is a Bushmaster AR-15. So let him, how did the verse go? He that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy an AR-15. Oh, you say you don't like AR-15s? Well, let him sell his garment and buy a Sega 12-gauge shotgun. Maybe that's what your liking is. Or maybe you're a Ruger guy. Maybe you should sell your garment and buy a Ruger Mini 12 223 rifle. Maybe that's what you should do. Or maybe you're a pistol guy, Smith & Wesson J-frame. Maybe you should sell your garment and buy a Smith & Wesson revolver. I want to share some books with you guys on how important the Second Amendment is. There's really multiple issues in my life that are of supreme importance. One of them is the King James Bible is the perfect Word of God. The second issue is the Second Amendment. You know, how important that issue is, that we never give up our guns. And of course, I'm pretty big on the birth certificate being a forgery, but this right here was recommended to me by a political prisoner named Jason Patrick. It's called Rise of the Warrior Cop, the Militarization of America's Police Forces. I highly recommend you watch that. This is a little pamphlet written by Lawrence Vance. It's called Gun Control and the Second Amendment. This is a real book too. It's called Death of a Patriot by Andy Mell. Death of a Patriot, the story of the martyrdom of Gordon Call. This is what happens when we let the police force and U.S. Marshals and law enforcement completely overrun us. We got to take a stand. This one right here is called The Myth, A Time to Kill, the Myth of Christian Pacifism. You know, in Ecclesiastes, I believe it says there's a time to heal, a time to kill, a time for peace, a time for war. And we are going to gather together this Saturday, or at least I'm considering it, this Saturday from 12 to 3 at Olmos Park in a peaceful assembly. We're going to go down there peacefully. But we're also going to lawfully exercise our Second Amendment. And these cops need to be educated. If it was up to me, they would spend 27 years in prison. But they need to be educated on the Second Amendment to the Constitution, that Texans are not going to allow policemen to walk around and to treat us like absolute criminals when they are the criminals. They're the one who has implemented the violence. They're the one who attacked C.J. Grisham and put, did you see the bruise or the scuff mark on the back of his head? They're the one that assaulted him. They're the one that's implementing violence, and they need to be held in check, and they need to go to prison. But there needs to be an education of our police forces in Texas. They can't go around and just strip us of our guns and tackle us and throw us in prison. That ain't going to happen. There's some of us that will get very upset about that. And so I am considering going down on Saturday. I'm told it's between 12 and 3. There's a Facebook page, and I'll put the link to the Facebook page. My wife has all the details. And I believe it's worth our time because regardless of the differences that I might have with any others in the protest or whatever, we do have in common that the police forces of Texas cannot be minions of the New World Order and think that they can just take away our guns without any consequences. We must come together and stand up for the Second Amendment. If you have the time and the inclination, I pray that you come down to Olmos Park, Texas, and protest with us. It's a peaceful assembly. You know that they could have agent provocateurs, but bring your cameras. Be on the lookout for anybody trying to incite violence. But we're going to speak in a loud, strong voice. At least that's my plan. No, that ain't going to happen anymore. You're not going to tackle us and take away our guns. And C.J. Grisham, he did the right thing. And these cops, they did the wrong thing. And they're the ones that need to be held accountable, lose their jobs, and go to prison. So anyway, God bless you. I'll put all the links in the information bar. Take care and have a great day.